Hello, Sara Mattigetz, Guidance Counsellor here. This video will explain the various post-secondary and skilled trade programs available to students, as well as some suggested steps to conduct research on your programs of interest and some resources to help with that exploration and decision-making process. Let's get started. So in Quebec, students can choose from a few different types of cégep program. There are three main types, two of which are presented on this slide. There are pre-university programs that are 2 years in length, and the aim is to prepare students for higher education. So often that means university studies. They are theoretical rather than hands-on, so you can expect a lot of classroom-based work, a lot of reading and writing-based assessments and activities. And they are of limited practical value if the student doesn't attend university afterwards, because in itself that is not enough training to do a particular trade or a particular job or have a particular qualification. So really the idea is to prepare for university, hence the name. Further study is often required to develop skills and competencies to obtain a career in the field. Technology programs, on the other hand, are 3 years in length, and they are designed to prepare students for the world of work. So that means to develop marketable knowledge and skills. Usually you're working in a same or similar environment to that particular job field. So you can imagine a laboratory technician. A lot of the skills and knowledge that they're building are based on lab situations that will be presented on a daily basis. These often include internships and hands-on training. So it's really about getting the skills to do a particular job while getting a cégep diploma. Now, graduates of 3-year technology programs can go on to university afterwards, either in their field or in a different field. Sometimes, though, depending on the level of study required, compared to their pre-university counterparts, they may need to make up some courses, do a qualifying year in university, but they also might get advanced standing for what they've already done in the field, because remember, this is about practical experience and doing job-related training. Now, the third type is preparatory programs. These are usually 1 or 2 semesters long. Students transfer to their intended program afterwards. These are for students typically requiring prerequisites and who have never taken them before. So this is your advanced math secondary 5, physics, chemistry. Now, environmental science secondary 4 is the prerequisite for chemistry and physics, and math scientific secondary 4 is the prerequisite for scientific math secondary 5 remedial activity courses. So often those students who get into these preparatory programs already have environmental science in secondary 4 and their secondary 4 scientific math. There are other types of prep programs that exist for students whose grades are below the cutoff for other programs. So if you're in a situation where you are scoring in the low to mid 60s, please see a guidance counselor for advice about potentially qualifying for these programs. Next, another type of program that is available to our students is vocational training. So this is a certification that allows students to acquire abilities in a skilled trade with the goal of entering the job market. So an individual with a diploma of vocational studies might pursue cégep studies as long as certain general courses have been successfully completed. They're typically from 600 to 1800 hours, so that's anywhere between 5 months and about 1.5 years, typically requiring passing grades in secondary 4 English, French, and math, or on another level, secondary 3 English, French, and math, depending on the program. In order to qualify for vocational training programs, students need to be 16 and over on the September 30th of the starting year. Next, we're going to talk about choosing a program. If you've identified a few areas of interest or sectors or particular job fields of interest, the next step is to identify what programs are offered, where they are offered, and then narrow down your choices and develop an application strategy. So as part of any decision-making process, you'll want to start by doing your research. The use of self-reflection activities and career test results, if you've seen a guidance counselor before, can be very helpful in this process, because normally you would identify at least a few areas of career interest that seem suited to you based on some validated results of valid career tests that are used. This isn't essential for the process, though. Sometimes just a bit of self-reflection in activities you've done in class. Maybe you've thought about it throughout your high school education, what you seem suited for, that's okay too. Regardless of how you get there and how you decide on potential programs, you'll want to consult and just see what's out there. So websites like pigma.ca and findyourowntrade.com exist for this purpose. They are essentially databases that allow you to explore what is out there, where it is, what are the requirements, and all of the relevant information that you might be searching for. So in addition to the program databases, we've developed a guidance department guide for students who are exploring post-secondary options. It can be found on the RHS website under Student Services. It's the first document linked to there. We highly recommend that all secondary 5 students and parents take a look, as it contains a lot of the basic information for you to get started. Now, there are still open houses coming up in the month of February where you will have the opportunity to visit. This is strongly recommended because it's not all about where the program is offered. If you choose a program that's offered everywhere, like social science or health science, you'd want to make your decision based on other things, like, is this the size of school that I'm comfortable with? What about the location? How long does it take me to get here? What about the atmosphere, the facilities? Do they have up-to-date library facilities or labs? These are questions that can only be answered if you go in person, so that's strongly recommended. The list of dates in February that are available for open houses can be found on the document that I just mentioned, the student guide for secondary 5 and post-secondary. There are also college view books that were distributed during our career evening, if you had the chance to come by. They contain all of the information that I just mentioned from the other sources, and it's organized in a user-friendly way, contains a lot of information about the colleges that you can consult in hard copy. If you would like a hard copy, please see your guidance counselor, as we have a few copies available still. So as I mentioned, Pigma is a great place to start if you want to explore CEGEP programs, and there will be a video coming up on how to use Pigma. It's pretty straightforward, so you can go ahead and experiment if you like as well. So for the skilled trades and for technical programs in CEGEP, you'd want to use the following resources. Just to take a look at what's out there. Trouve ton métier, of course, is translated to findyourowntrade.com in English. So these are great ways to see what's out there in the various sectors in Quebec in terms of professional training. So that concludes this section of the video series on choosing a program and using resources to help narrow down your decision.